guys, welcome back for another ASMR video. Listen, I got a story to tell. I know it's a different type of video. For those of you all who don't know me, I am Silver Fox. Now, I finally found a story that I felt like I can tell that you all might be able to relate to or that you all may want to listen to. Now, I'm hoping that out of telling my story that it may help somebody or somebody may be able to identify with my experience going through the breakup of a relationship and how I got my heart crushed, right? But let me tell you the story. I met this girl. She was absolutely gorgeous. Long hair, beautiful eyes, nice lips, and I was in love at first sight, literally, right? And I approached the girl. Of course, I threw my Mac at her, and the game was strong, right? And we decided we wanted to be in a relationship. Now, I gotta tell you the story prior to this, so therefore you can kind of understand a little bit of the lesson that I've learned. Now, prior to this, I was getting into what I'm gonna call sex ships, right? I didn't want to get into a relationship. Now, although I was being honest, I later on found out that I was wrong, right? Because I was sleeping with people that I really shouldn't have been sleeping with if I didn't want to be with them. I found out that it says a lot about me and who I am and where I'm at in my life, and that something's going on with me if I'm sleeping with some people or women that I really didn't want to be with, right? Now, although I was being honest, doesn't mean that the women that I was sleeping with weren't getting hurt, right? In spite of the fact that I was being honest. So the first one that I experienced, right, and I was being honest and she didn't really give me a hard time, but I could see in her eyes she was hurt that, after everything she did, after everything she said, after trying to prove herself to me, that I still didn't want to be in the commitment. I was honest, I was being upfront, and I had my cards all on the table. The next one I got into a sex ship with, right, she also got hurt, same thing. I was open, I was honest, and she said, yeah, I'll be okay. I said, the last one wasn't. Are you sure? And she said, yeah. And then it happened again, right? And that person got hurt. And then there was a third person, same experiences, right? Now you figure I would learn from that, but I didn't, right? But I eventually later on found out that there's something going on. There's a pattern. Everybody you sleep with, in spite of the fact that you're being honest with them, they're still getting their feelings hurt. Now, until this one girl put me on Front Street in front of other people, and in spite of the fact that I was honest, she went and told them not the truth about what I did. She talking about I used her, and I never did. Being really honest, I never did. I was upfront about where I was at, and she couldn't convert me to wanting to be into a relationship with her. And then I learned my lesson, right? I don't want to sleep with women anymore, and so I stopped. But when I was in those relationships, there was 6-month cycles. I would go through 6 months of being by myself, then I would meet another girl, and I would go through another 6 months. And so I eventually saw the pattern, but I didn't see it until I started chatting with men and other people about my experience about the women I was sleeping with. And they told me, well, if you really don't want to be with them, then why are you sleeping with them? And so I said, okay, I'm going to change my life. I don't want to hurt people anymore. So I stopped, right? So about, I want to say 8 months later to maybe a year later, I met the one. And I'm telling you, listen, this girl was absolutely beautiful, right? And I told her, listen, I've been searching for the one all my life, and now I feel that search is over. And of course, she smiled. She was flattered. We dated. We went out. We held hands. We kissed. We hugged. We did all the things that couples would do. I asked her to be my girlfriend. She said yes. But there were some lessons to be learned, right? I didn't know, or I did not understand, or there was lack of information, which is I was ignorant, right? And I didn't know that there's many women that don't like being on the bus, right? So I guess she was looking for me to get my license together, to get me a car so I can be able to take her to the places she wanted to go. Now, what I did not know, which I eventually learned, is that we both bring the representatives to the table when we meet one another, right? We're on our good behavior. We're saying all the right things, all the good things, except for the things we need to say. Like, what do I expect out of you in a relationship, right? We're just so happy to be with one another that we don't want to, rock the boat, because some people fall in love with the potential of what a person could be, and that was me, because I knew that she could be the perfect wife. I knew that she could make me happy. I knew that there were certain things that she can do to make this relationship a grand relationship, but she did not possess none of those things. She really didn't want to be in this relationship because I didn't have a car. I later found that out, right? And I talked to some guys, and they informed me that that would be true, right? But they kept encouraging me that it is okay. At this time, my heart is crushed because she dropped me like a bad habit, right? She did not tell me why she dropped me. She just said that she didn't want to be in a relationship anymore. And I found myself asking questions that women have asked themselves, that I've heard them ask themselves, like, what's wrong with me? What did I do wrong? Am I not pretty enough? I mean, all those questions that I've heard women say to me, I was saying to other people, and my heart was crushed. I'm in the fetal position. I'm crying. I don't want to go to work. I'm calling off. I don't want to be around people. I'm embarrassed. I went through all the things that other people would go through, and I had been protecting my heart for a long time. And the one time I open it up, this person breaks my heart. And so it took me a while to be able to get over it. And I was talking to men, and men encouraged me. Men comfort me, right? For the first time in my life, I didn't have to pretend that I was okay. I didn't have to pretend that this girl didn't break my heart. I was able to be myself with these men that were in my life, and they started telling me some things that helped me to see the reality of the breakup of this relationship. And one of the things they talked about was a reason, a season, and a lifetime. So the first thing they told me is that not everybody, not just women in relationships, are meant to be in your life for a lifetime. Some people are meant to be in your life for a reason and a season, maybe just to give you what you need for that moment. Maybe it's just for that season. You needed that encouragement. You needed to see that you are attractive. You need to see that people do find you appealing. You need to see that, listen, everything is going to be okay after the breakup of a relationship. And so I learned some lessons, some hard lessons as going through the breakup. But I'm going to tell you, being in the midst of that storm, right? I remember wanting to give up. I remember wanting to go back to that old way of living, that old way of thinking. And I broke through. I just continued to keep talking to people about my feelings. So if you're going through, don't give up. If you're still hurting, still talk to people, in spite of the fact that it's repetitious, right? Because people understand they've been through breakups too. And if it's hard to find that person, listen, just pray. I prayed a bunch of times to God to take this pain away from me because I couldn't bear it. But God said you have to go through it, because the lesson that needed to be learned, the lessons that needed to be learned, you have to learn them in order for you to be prepared for the woman that I am going to send you, right? And I remember as I started to come through, I started to feel better, right? But I wasn't approaching women anymore, and I was going, hanging out, doing things that normal people would do, and I started to feel better. I still missed her. It took a long time for me to get past that. Every time I would see her, I would feel that uncomfortable feeling in my gut, right? Because I still see her to be the one. I remember the things that we used to do, and I would still share with people how I was feeling, and they would encourage me that, listen, maybe it's just time for you to get your life right. That wife that you're looking for, she's coming. God's saying that you're not ready yet. So that helped for me to go through this breakup of a relationship, right? I had to learn a lot about me in this relationship. Like, why am I laying down with people that I really don't want to sleep with? Why am I doing the things that's going to cause more harm to people, other people, and myself? And so as I started to grow out of this, right, and I'm waiting for that perfect wife, I made a mistake of sharing it with this guy, and this guy like, listen, don't wait, right? Go ahead, still enjoy life while you're waiting on that wife to come take you out, spend some time with you. It's okay to go to the movies, to take yourself to dinner. I took those suggestions and I did just that. I would dress up in a two-piece suit with a tie and go to the movies right after work, right? I would take myself out to dinner all by myself and I would eat and I would feel good about it. I was able to leave a tip. And I would go home and I was still on the bus at this time. I didn't have any license, but I was still taking care of me. I was taking myself shopping. I was really enjoying spending time with me, right? Until the wife came. It doesn't mean that I didn't see some attractive women, but I was waiting to see who God has in store for me, because whoever God has in store for me, all I have to do is my part. I don't have to force a relationship to happen. And so I learned these things and I was more happy with myself in the relationship that I started to build with me. I started to get to know me. I started to embrace the feelings and emotions that I was feeling at certain times in my life. And so it prepared me for the wife that would eventually come. And so I met my wife in the parking lot of Walmart, right? And I remember putting my best game on her, right? She was in a relationship. I was wrong, but I was messing, right? I wasn't going to break up a happy home. And so I told her, I said, listen, I said, you need to eventually get rid of that zero and get with this hero, right? And she laughed at me and went about her business. But eventually we did get married, right? And God delivered what he promised to me. But it's all about being patient. And sometimes patience is hard. But I found out that when I'm going through anything, whether it's a breakup of a relationship or I'm going through some type of emotions, it's okay to talk to some people about how I feel. A lot of times I get the solution from people that I talk to. Sometimes I get the solution, and when I talk to people, I start to answer my own questions, right? And I'm like, wow, instead of trying to go through it on my own, I allow people to help me through, because sometimes it's hard. Sometimes we fall into a deeper hole of depression, stress, emotional stress. And so I grew from that breakup of a relationship because it allowed me to spend more time with me, with friends, doing things that I needed to do for me. And eventually, when I wasn't looking, God delivered, but I had to get my life together first. But I will tell you this much, that breakup crushed me. It's nothing like having somebody have your heart in the palm of their hand and they just squeeze and not let up and squeeze tighter and tighter and tighter. And this is not on purpose. So I learned that sometimes you'll realize that you are not ready to be in a relationship, or that the person that you want to be in a relationship isn't ready. Because a lot of times we'll fall in love with the potential of what a person could be, later on to find out that the person did not possess the ability to be the person that you saw that they can be. And you had to be able to recognize that, and I wasn't able to see that. All I knew is that she had my heart. All I knew is that I was in love and I had found the one, not knowing that the one was only going to be in my life for a season, right? And here I am. Look how I turned out. I think I turned out pretty great. Alright guys, I hope that this helped somebody. I hope that you guys enjoyed this story time. If you did, go ahead, hit the like button, smash that notification bell. Let me know what you thought of this story time. Can you identify? I'm gonna see you guys at the next video. Have fun.